Good morning again, and welcome to yet another YouTube sensation. I hope that you are well and safe, and it does seem that there is some small light at the end of this long tunnel of 2020 that may mean that in the not too distant future in 2021 we may be able to get back together again, meet up in more normal circumstances. What I have today is a reading from Simon Child, who's a teacher with a Buddhist group, and he's talking about a particular method of meditation known as silent illumination. And he's written a small piece explaining what silent illumination is. So I thought I would just take some time to read this, and perhaps towards the end we'll have 5 minutes where we can just sit quietly and see if we can perhaps practice. So this is What is Silent Illumination by Simon Child. Anyone who has ever tried any meditation will understand what I mean when I say that our minds are often noisy and dull. Noisy because we experience the voices of our thoughts filling our minds with words and images. Dull because we see only a part of our present circumstances and environment, the part which preoccupies us, and we overlook much else that may be present. The practice of silent illumination points the way to connecting this by leading us to a mind in which the awareness is wide open and all-seeing. It's clear, bright and awake, illuminated, and yet the mind does not generate any commentary or other mental chatter, so it is calm, peaceful and silent. The fundamental problem is our innate tendency, which we may have each developed and refined during the decades of our lives, to evaluate the world in terms of whether any circumstances or encounters may be beneficial or dangerous, in which case I give it a lot of attention, or whether it seems unimportant or irrelevant, in which case I will ignore it. This splitting goes on all the time, sometimes consciously, but often unconsciously. We are preoccupied with concerns that may not get what we want and may lose what we have, and this leaves us wary and unsettled. It is natural and useful that we would do that to some extent, or else we might fall prey to common dangers such as starvation or car accidents. But we are such complex social creatures with such powerful thinking minds that we tend to overdo it. We can spend many hours thinking anxiously about some past situation and trying to rework it because we didn't like the outcome, or planning future possibilities, fearing an unfavourable result. And all this time our attention has been narrowed and we have overlooked opportunities and delights in the present moment. Practicing silent illumination leads us to a balanced mind, one which indeed can function safely and effectively in response to common dangers and opportunities, but which is not narrow-minded and preoccupied with selfish concerns. The two aspects of this practice, silence and illumination, need to be cultivated together. If we overemphasize one aspect and neglect the other, then this is not silent illumination. For example, there are many meditation methods which emphasize calming and silencing the mind, but often these include an element of suppression of the mind, so as to reduce the tendency for the mind to wander. The common method of settling the mind by focusing on the breath or some other object such as a mantra or an image may be excellent for a meditator whose mind is very unsettled, and so we often recommend this as a preparatory for practicing silent illumination. But by directing the mind to focus solely on the breath, one is excluding the possibility of a wide open awareness. Silent illumination takes a different approach. One meaning of the term silent illumination is not a meditation method at all, but is actually a state of being. If you are in a state of wide open awareness with a silent mind, then there is no need to apply any method of meditation. Indeed, to do so would be inappropriate, as you will be adding unnecessary activities and ambitions to a mind which is already bright and clear. This is the state of silent illumination, but the question is, how might one discover or enter that state? It is possible that you might fall into this state spontaneously, and it is also possible I'll start that one again, and it is also possible that you might move to it from another meditation method. For example, if well practiced at following the breath, you may be able to maintain the same concentration and silence of mind, whilst opening awareness wider than just from the breath. The traditional way to enter silent illumination is by settling the attention on awareness of your body, the experience of sitting, the sense of the body being present. It may appear that focusing on body awareness could lead to the same problems as focusing on breath awareness, that you would exclude a wider awareness, but this turns out not to be the same. It is through the sense organs of the body that we hear sounds, we see light and objects, and we feel the touch of a breeze and perhaps the smell or scent of incense or flowers. So in focusing on body awareness, we are automatically cultivating awareness of our surroundings and environment as well. And similarly, we also include full awareness of our inner world, most directly as we experience emotional feelings being felt as well as part of our physical sensations. But also, we locate thoughts as arising in the body or head. We discover that the act of sitting with full experience of our body sensation leads us to cultivate a full, three-dimensional, 360-degree awareness of physical body together with our inner and outer worlds. It can be a difficult practice to stabilise, and it is wise to check your practice with a teacher. As the awareness is open wide, there is much more material for the mind to comment about, and so the silence may be lost. And in trying to suppress the tendency of the mind to wander, the awareness may become reduced. In either case, this is not yet silent illumination, but with guidance and practice, one can taste the freedom and spaciousness and liveliness of this state. This is an ancient practice which derives from the teachings of the Buddha. From the early Chan Zen masters, and especially from Chan master Hongzhi of the 12th century. Subsequently, it spread to other countries, notably to China and Japan, where, on the basis of the Soto Zen practice, it becomes an excellent Oriental practice with monastic origins, but one which is perfectly suited to our modern Western lay people, who can learn and cultivate the practice and naturally carry it through into their lives as an everyday mindfulness, which is present, attentive and open in many circumstances. Well, my apologies for the stuttering on that, but I trust you got the gist of that piece. So what I'm going to suggest now is that we might just take 5 minutes. I shall get my little timer, and that we have 5 minutes sitting, becoming aware in our bodies, and allow ourselves to test this silence whilst being fully attentive of our body and our environment. So I'm going to just set up my timer, and I should have done this perhaps before we started, but never mind. Here we go. As you can see, it's all on the go. So if you would kindly close your eyes and sit in a comfortable position, as you might well be familiar with by now, and let us begin. So take this opportunity to rest your body. Allow your neck and your shoulders to sink and relax, with a sense of your spine being relaxed and upright, but not tense or rigid. And feel flowing down your arms the weight of your body and allowing it to drift down through your torso, through your chest and your stomach, and down through to your thighs, and down through to the bottom of your legs and feet, and allow all that weight and sensation to move down and evaporate through the bottom of your feet onto and through the ground. Now, as you do this, you may already be noticing you are commenting on something that's happening. Allow that to dissolve and bring your attention to outside of your body, so that perhaps you can hear the wind outside the house, and notice what seems to surround everything is a sense of silence. If you can, continue with this awareness of the silence. And at the same time, be aware of any noises or scents or other stimulus to your senses. And again, allow these to exist and not be a running commentary. So you feel these things, and you hear these things, and you smell these things. You don't have a comment about them. You are silent. Be aware of your body, the natural weight of your body through to your bottom on your seat. So you have this awareness of both your environment and outside of yourself, and at the same time an awareness of a silence inside. Don't be surprised if you will continually notice some conversation. Allow it to evaporate. Come back to this sense of brightness in your mind, of awareness, and at the same time a silence. This is a tricky practice and does require attention and repetition and practice. If you have a little glimpse there, that is silent illumination. and it is worth continuing to practice. So now I will ask you to just draw your attention back to your sitting and your room. Open your eyes. And I would recommend, first of all, thank you very much for bearing with that. And I would recommend that you perhaps later today or tomorrow, you practice that silent illumination for a slightly longer period of time, perhaps for 10 minutes or maybe 20 minutes. And as always, I'd be interested to hear how you got on. So thank you once again, and looking forward to, in the not too distant future, I trust, we will be seeing each other. So thank you. Goodbye for now.